Well, good morning everyone. Today we're at the base of Mount Nugget. It's been raining heavily in Brisbane for over a week now, and it eased up last night, so I decided to come out here this morning. My aim is to find a nice piece of forest area with some bracken fern and some nice detail, and just photograph the foresty scene. Should be a very nice morning here. So this is the sort of scene that I was wanting to look for. See, look at that, look at the beautiful bracken fern. It's just so nice. And because of all the rain and all that, it's so lush and green. Now just have to find some with a bit of foreground detail in there. So you might be wondering why I'm here so early, like 6:30 in the morning, to get the best light. It's very overcast, very drab. I'm not going to have any harsh shadows or any harsh highlights. Perfect weather. So this is my first stop that I'm going to do this morning. This looks really nice. Look at that. This is a very old tree that's fallen down. And like I said, I wanted some bracken, but not just bracken, because bracken by itself is very plain. And look, we've got a grass tree here in the front. We got some rocks for a bit of definition. And look at this tree here. Now, using my Takina 11-20, I should get a very wide shot. The only thing is, if I look up in the sky here, can you see it's all grey? What I have to do is try to get as least amount of sky as possible. If I walk back a little bit more, so if I walk forward and shoot the other way, see this way, we have less definition, but we've got like the tree just going away. So we're going to shoot from one side and then come around this side here and shoot this side. We're going to end up with two totally different images. So I'm all set up. I've got my Nikon D500, the Takina 11-20mm at 11 mils. So as I was setting up, I looked in landscape orientation and it looked really good. And I go like, what would it look like in portrait orientation? So I quickly flipped it around in portrait orientation, and I think it has more wow factor. But I'll let you be the judge of that. So we'll take one photo like this and then we'll flip it around and take it in portrait orientation. I always like shooting in the lowest ISO possible, ISO 100 here. If there was a bit of breeze about, I would increase my ISO because my shutter speed here is only 1/3 of a second, shooting at f11. You can see on the camera here there's a big rock just at the base of this fallen tree, and this is where I've set my focus point. Now this image looks really nice. Look at that. We've got the tree, we can just see a bit of the path, and we've got this grass tree just anchoring the bottom right hand corner. Now the photos you're seeing here are just JPEGs, and at the end of the video I share the JPEG photo and then the raw file edited in Adobe Lightroom to give you a different perspective. So this image looks really nice. Now we're going to flip the camera around and shoot in portrait orientation. Now look at that, totally different composition. We've still got this grass tree anchoring our frame down the bottom. We've got a little bit of rocks on the bottom left, but look at the tree, it nicely frames in the middle. It sort of breaks that bracken up. So there's no need to adjust our settings. The light is totally the same. So let's take a photo. This is so nice. I really like that. Just gives me two totally different perspectives. What I'm going to do now, as you can see, look at that. I'm tilting the camera down. Wow, this looks so different. Now, why would I be tilting the camera down this way instead of up? I want to get rid of the highlights in the trees here. So I've tilted it down. Now I can see a bit more track. I'm giving very good separation. This looks so cool. This is what I came here for, a foresty scene. It's overcast. It just feels so moody. It's so nice. Now let's change compositions. I've got the shots I want. So let's change to the other side and take some more photos. So I said our next composition was going to be to the other side of the tree, but I grabbed the Sony ZV-1, moved it to that side, grabbed my Nikon D500 here, and it was still in live view. And as I'm walking, I just look at the screen and go like, what? Look at this composition. I would have missed. I was so concentrating, shooting one side to the other, that I would have missed this great composition. And look at this. Can you see on the video here? We've got another grass tree in the front, and we've got the tree angling towards the center. It just looks so nice. What you're seeing in the video is very close to what I'm going to take. It looks like I'm slightly underexposed. I'll come back down to 1/3 of a second, and there's this big rock right in the front here, and this is what I'm going to focus on. Wow, this looks so nice. Now let's look at our histogram. Beautiful. This looks so cool. One shot, and that's all I needed, just one shot. Ripper. Let's move again. Can you hear the birds? Oh, this is so nice. This is why I love photographing in the forest. Not the easiest place to photograph, and this is why I'm doing this video, to show you that it's not rocket science. All you have to do is just make sure that you've got a fairly well balanced image. Like I said, I'm shooting at ISO 100, but I don't really need to. I could shoot all the way up to, let's say, ISO 400 if I had a little bit of wind, because today there's no wind, so I could reduce my ISO. If there was a bit of breeze around, I want this bracken fern to be crisp and sharp. I don't want to see too much movement in the image. This is why I can get away with ISO 100 and 1/3 of a second. But I can just see sometimes there's just a bit of breeze around, so to be safe, I'm going to go up to ISO 200. This is going to bring me to 1/6 of a second. Now I can see here at 1/6 of a second, because I've changed now my composition, I'm shooting against the light. Before I was shooting with the light. The sun, well, it's already risen, but it's heavy in cloud, is behind me here. So we've got the light coming this way. When we were shooting at the start here, we had the light coming with us. Very nice. But this way, we're shooting against the light. So we're going to have a few more shadows. So I've got to readjust my exposure. So I'm going to bring it down 1/4 of a second. And I'm going to photograph on the base of the tree here. You can see how I framed this. Now, it looks nice, but I'm not really 100% happy with it. So let's just zoom in a little bit more. We'll come up a little bit more to the right here, there. Now in this image, I don't want the tree to be its main focus point. It's so big. Look at all this bracken in front here. I want us to concentrate on the bracken. See the nice shape of these bracken leaves? And then this will lead us to the tree. So the tree will anchor our background and the ferns here will be our foreground. Now we'll take another photo. Now let's look at the difference between the two of them. It's not much, but the first one here, I've got a bit of dead space in the front here. The tree is a little bit further away. This one here, I've gotten rid of this dead space because it was just like a little bit distracting. Now all I have is these bracken ferns and it looks super cool. I forgot to mention, as I was walking up here, only about 50, 60 meters up, I was just coming around a bend and I could hear like trickle, trickle, trickle of water and think like, there's no creeks around here. Because we've had so much rain, there's a small creek and there's water flowing through it. But I photographed so much water and I'm like, well, you don't need to see more water in my videos, so we'll just photograph these trees here this morning. So I'm really happy with this scene here. Now, let's see if we could find something else to photograph. So after my last photo, I walked around 100 meters further up the track just to see if I could find something. I didn't find anything to really grab me. So I came back down, and as I was coming back down the track, I could see these two big branches coming in. I go like, there's another composition of the same tree, but totally different. Sometimes this is what you've got to think about. Look at different angles. So I walked up the hill a little bit, set up my tripod. This is what I was wanting. Look at that. We've got the track coming in from the bottom left into the center of our frame. We've got the tree coming into the center of our frame. Everything is leading the viewer's eye in. So my focal length is still 11 mils. I'm still at f11, but I've increased my ISO to 320 just because I can see there's just a bit of breeze around every now and then, and my shutter speed is 1/13 of a second. So I'm going to focus on that piece of bark that you can see on that big log there, just on top of the rock. And I'm still on a 2-second timer delay. Beautiful. Look at that. This is so nice. And look, compared to our last images, look at this one. And then this one. So different. Do I need any other photos? No, not from here. We're just going to walk back now because it looks like the rain is just coming down the mountain here, and I really don't want to get soaked this morning. Now, as we were climbing up the mountain, I did state that we were going to look for a nice foresty scene with some bracken fern, but the first couple of images we took had another subject in there, just to add some drama, some dynamics to the image. Now, as I was walking back down the hill, I could still hear this creek running. I thought, like, let's just take a sticky beat at this creek. And I'm walking down the path, and you can see here that there's just an old path that just leads to this creek here. And I've angled my camera in a way that it's leaning down to give a wider field of view at the front. Remember, like when we're tilting an ultra-wide lens like this, we're distorting the image. We're making the front bigger and the back smaller. So it leads me in, and it's all like on a third. We've got the bottom left-hand corner here. It's a bit open. We've got a bit of grass. We've got those nice rocks in the front, and then the track just disappears inside the bracken fern. This should look really nice. So my settings are still the same from the last shot. ISO 320, f11, and my shutter speed is 1/13 of a second. I'm going to focus just on the front bracken ferns, just where I'm pointing here. Beautiful. This looks so nice. And it's only bracken. Now you can see I don't have any sky. Watch what happens with the ferns as I'm tilting up. Can you see how they're becoming more realistic now? But look now in the sky, all that grey area, it's very distracting. What I've done is I've lowered the camera down. It's only around 70 centimeters off the ground here, but I've got a totally different view. It's so different to my last scene. And this will most likely be our last image of the day because I just like this so much. It's slightly the same as the last, but the last one, remember we're looking down, this one here, we're looking more sort of straight into it. It's showing me a little bit overexposed, so I'll come down 1/15 of a second. Now we'll just focus on that front bracken fern here that you can see on the left-hand side. This is so nice. I really like this. It just gives me another shot. I always tell people, don't put all your eggs in one basket. I might even use this shot, but at least when I get home, I've got a couple of different compositions that I can choose from. So this video was all about showing you how I go about finding compositions in a foresty scene like this, but to give you ideas of how you can go about taking similar photos. Because it's not rocket science. I tell this to people all the time. If it was rocket science, I wouldn't be doing this. But it's so easy. You've just got to look beyond, like just in front of you. Sometimes you walk around, take your time. Sometimes an image might just turn up in front of you. You just got to walk around. Sometimes you walk past it. You look at something, you're like, no, it doesn't look nice, but look at it from a different angle. Look at that tree that we photographed. We photographed it from 4 different angles and we end up getting some very different images. I feel the last one, like with the big branches coming in, just added so much drama to it. And then just with the bracken fern here, this looks a very nice little image just to finish off our morning shoot. So here are my best photos of this morning. The JPEG first and then the RAW file edited in Adobe Lightroom. Now you can use Studio NX, Photoshop or Luminar, any editing program that can edit a RAW file. So thanks for watching. If you found value in this video, give me a big thumbs up. I'd appreciate if you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Really helps me out. Stay safe, enjoy photography, no matter what photography you do, and I'll see you next time.